Hi there, Libra, Libra rising, and of course all of you Libra moon people out there, this is your monthly astrological forecast for December 2021. And just a quick reminder, I have already uploaded special videos covering in depth Venus retrograde in Capricorn as well as Jupiter's move into Pisces for 2022. We will be talking about them in a bite-sized way in this video. However, if you want to really get the nitty-gritty on those, I suggest you watch those videos, and you can find those by following the links below or going to my main channel page and clicking on the Major Astrology Shifts playlist. It's all there front and center for you. And if you ever want to get a session with me, just go on ahead to my website, integrativemysticism.com. And don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe because, I appreciate it. And of course, engagement helps this channel out a lot. So what's going on when it comes to your month of December? Well, we've already kind of talked a bit about Venus. Let's talk about Venus. Venus is in Capricorn all month. Venus is in your fourth house of home, family, your roots, the domicile, and home economy. Venus, the planet of popularity, favor, love, and affection, is direct all the way up through the 19th. So it's not like she's retrograde all month long. All kinds of opportunities to create a much more luxurious, comfortable, peaceful, and loving home are being magnetized to you in the first 2.5 weeks of the month. You may be finding as well that this is a great time for those of you Libra people that have been looking to do something to shift dynamics in your relationships with relatives or housemates or chosen family to be a lot more peaceful, a lot more engaged, a lot more generous with one another. And this is also a great time for those of you that may have been thinking about finding a way to actually draw in more liquidity to your home and to your family. As with Mars in the fourth house, Venus in the fourth house can also do numbers for our home economy. And you may be finding that this is also a great time for those of you who have been looking to maybe change the way home economics work, whether it has to do with the home-based business operation. You may be also noticing that partners and spouses are also coming into a really good way as far as that's concerned. They may be actually bringing in a lot of extra money this month as well. And you are also finding that even when it comes to things like love and romance, a lot of you are also starting to find that it's kind of coming closer to home. There may be opportunities to even find love, through really, really close friends, through the neighborhood, or, even through introductions or connections to family members, right? Just 1 degree of separation. Venus does again go retrograde on the 19th of December, where she will remain retrograde through the 29th of January 2022. And this can be a very challenging time. Venus retrograde is the most challenging inner planet retrograde in my opinion. And that is because Venus, when she's retrograde, it goes very deep, very personal. There's pressure getting put on cracks and challenges on a deeply emotional and relational level. And oftentimes with Venus retrograde, we see issues come up around insecurity, volatility, escapism, and immaturity or underdeveloped matters or underdeveloped aspects of this house. In this case, it would be family relationships, household dynamics, issues with neighbors. Be mindful over the course of the second half of this month and in January, Venus retrograde is bringing all of these old issues up to be cleared and neutralized for good. But sometimes what has to happen is we go through it. We have to see, right? The elephant in the room has to throw a shit fit, or something has to kind of tip, make a tipping point occur so that we actually are aware of where the cracks still are. We may be finding that old issues are coming out, old emotional challenges are coming out, or maybe even having to deal with problematic circumstances with family members, with living situations that we had not necessarily fixed properly before. Did we sweep it under the rug? Is it something that maybe the family's been made to serve? How difficult has it been, to maybe completely cure this situation. There may be tough talks that have to happen about making serious shifts in the highest interest of all concerned. And with Venus retrograde, the 19th of December through the 29th of January 2022, all of this stuff is coming up to be revealed and hopefully to be released. Now, the edge is going to be taken off this experience, at least here this month of December, with the Sun also in this fourth house the second half of the month, and Mercury here the second half of the month. So the Sun is bringing in attention, enhancement, and support, levity, and you are going to have backup. When these things are coming in, people that are focusing on solutions and not settling for kicking the can down the road or, covering things up with a fresh coat of paint or whitewashing challenges. You're going to have people coming into your life and family members and things like that stepping up to settle a lot of challenges that may come up for good, because the Sun also does focus on healing and repair work. And you are also going to find that with the Sun in your fourth house, you're also attracting a lot of new ways to actually do family, or new ways to set boundaries and new ways to stabilize your household and set it up for greater success. With Mercury here, we're also seeing more assistance with household economy. Things are becoming a lot more productive. Things are becoming a lot more lucrative even, because Mercury in the fourth house from the 13th on is also going to be giving a considerable boost to the income avenues that the household has. And so while we are dealing with a lot of maybe the emotional or challenging or generational issues or interpersonal issues with family matters inside and outside the household itself, we are at least having a lot of our other ducks in a row, or even getting way ahead, starting to make things a lot more comfortable so we can focus on those things while enjoying the rewards of a lot of these other successes and more of the economic side of things. The first half of the month, we've got the Sun and Mercury in Sagittarius, your third house of communications, pacts, promises, commitments, your peer group, popularity, and you are getting an opportunity to really not only make a new name for yourself, but also establish a very, very strong and supportive personal and professional social network. And you may be finding that with Mercury in Sagittarius, we are speeding up developments with the completion of some kind of major goal or major task that maybe you've been working on all year since the last time Mercury was in Sagittarius. If you've been really trying to get something underway with your vocation, with your education, a move, or maybe even something new you're trying to start with a new collaborative or establish a new community, put yourself out there in a new corner of your field. Mercury is speeding up the fruition of this very nicely, and the Sun is drawing in interest in you. Attention, enhancement, and support comes in the form of people power. It comes in the form of money. It comes in the form of new territory and new space to claim. We also have Mars in Scorpio the first half of the month, your second house of earned income, employment, your values, and your valuables. And from the 1st through the 13th, you are really, really busy. You are really raking it in. The thing about Mars in Scorpio, though, you've got to keep in mind, it is the driving force of action, passion, energy, and obstacle clearing. And so we may be also finding that this month, the first half, we are also taking a lot of work home with us. And if we're not careful, work is going to dominate a lot of our time and our space. Our work-life balance might be thrown off a little bit, but for those of you that like the extra hours, for those of you that are trying to get a good head start on next year, this is going to be golden for you. And a lot of really cool competitive opportunities for new jobs or new roles is also going to be rolling out. After the 13th, we have Mars entering Sagittarius, joining at least the Sun for a little bit, but that third house of communications, pacts, promises, commitments. And it's important to keep in mind that with Mars in the third house, now you are getting a chance to start altering a lot of trends, a lot of fashions, a lot of cycles, a lot of status quos that are going on in both your personal, professional, social life, family life. I guess I shouldn't say both. I should just say all of the above. And you are getting a chance to be a new trend setter, and you are getting a chance to overturn a lot of agreements or a lot of old, long-standing contracts or obligations or binds that you have been stuck in. Just be careful with Mars in the third house the second half of the month, because our words can be a little bit more incisive. We may have a lot of this confidence boost, but if we're tone deaf to the way that we actually communicate, vocally and online, if we just don't know how we sound, that's no way to live. But also at the same time, you may come off way more aggressive or way more intense than you intended. So be careful with how you express yourself, right? Be extra impeccable and careful with how you articulate your own thoughts. You are going to get a chance to either make a really powerful name for yourself or a name of infamy. Which one do you want? And Mars will be here through the end of January. Finally, for the planets, as far as the planets are concerned, we have Jupiter entering Pisces, December 29th. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, growth, wealth, and novelty. Pisces is your 6th house of work, reputation. We've already seen a lot of reputation so far. Your schedule, the teams you're working on, and your physical health. And with the planet of expansion, growth, wealth, and novelty here, you're going to be noticing that there's a lot of extra splendor, a lot of pleasure, and a lot of new wealth for you to attain. It's a very good money month for the Libra people anyway. But with Jupiter, a lot of the work that you do, a lot of the skills you bring to the table, or the team that you're on, the company you work for, is also becoming a lot more valuable. And that will be reflected in how you are compensated. Jupiter in your 6th house is also making a bigger name for you inside and outside of your field. However, when it comes to physical health, and I do think that this does need to be mentioned, Jupiter can be a bit of a hedonist in the 6th house. You really want to be careful with making sure you are keeping a balance with what you are doing, whether you are overdoing something as it relates to something you think is healthy. You know, it's possible to go the opposite direction and go too fierce, and we're not in moderation anymore. Or when it comes to maybe a bit of pleasure seeking, we want to make sure we're not taking any risks or overdoing things, packing on the pounds, because Jupiter can also lead to a bit of excess. But this excess is something that's coming in the form of gratifying pleasure. It's helping to sustain, re-energize, be a bit of a morale boost. And you're going to have a very fun, again, merrymaking type of year, not only with your teams, your crew. You are going to be finding that you're working with a lot more highly capable people in your field, attracting wealthy your customers. It's like someone cast a better business spell on you. Just make sure that you don't rest on your laurels and you don't let the excess make you let too many things go as far as how you're handling your disciplines, whether it's your physical health discipline, your professional discipline, or your social discipline. As far as the lunations are concerned, we have a new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius on December 4th. Remember, new moons bring new beginnings and new cycles. And this opens up a big window for you to completely transport yourself to a new community. And this is actually occurring, this window occurs from the 4th of December through the beginning of March 2022. A lot of you are going to be finding that you are getting a chance to create a new sense of home in the world, whether it has to do with your social life, whether it has to do with your neighborhood, whether it has to do with your job or your field or your education. A solar eclipse new moon is a transport. It's like being beamed to a whole new space or beamed to a whole new corner of your space in order to establish a new foundation to build the rest of your life on. A solar eclipse here could also indicate a transition going on as far as it relates to, what is happening in your market. Some of you may also find there are opportunities to boost your competitiveness or boost your competitive availability to higher opportunities by taking on or updating or evolving a lot of your vocational skills. Some of you may be going back to school or maybe even taking on a completely new focus, or even jumping into a completely different side of the work that you've been providing so far. But this is going to be creating, again, a new name for yourself. A complete community and reputational shift is on the menu for you Libra people throughout the course of the first quarter of 2022, starting in December now. We also have a full moon in Gemini on December 18th, which has its window from the 18th of December through the very beginning of January 2022. A full moon in the 9th house of higher education, government legal proceedings, travel, culture, your spiritual path, your spiritual practice is opening up a whole new world for you here as well. A lot of you may find that this is actually giving you a chance to explore communicating and connecting with crowds, with cultures, and with people that you don't normally get to spend a lot of time with. This is closing the gap between you and those that ultimately you would feel to be the ideal community or the ideal culture you wish to have around yourself. Some of you may actually take this time to do some serious traveling or plan some big travel opportunities this next year, and even close up a lot of unfinished business that maybe has been held over your head for a long time. You know, things that maybe have governed our decisions, old expenses, old debts, old agreements, maybe old limitations that were, taken on from either, a license kind of situation or maybe a commitment or a contract decision. You're getting a chance to transform what has say over your options and your mobility. And it's a big freedom break. It's a big, huge bubble burst for you Libra people. So that is what I've got for you all. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you ever want to get a session with me, go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com.